These men are being raised and they're not prepared for war. They're not prepared. They're not battle ready. And this is what's happened to a whole generation of men. They're literally simply not battle ready. They think life is supposed to be easy. They think their end goal is that they're supposed to be happy. And they don't realize that life is a fight. That's what it is. It's one big battle as a man. And that's how you have to prepare yourself. You can't be sitting there going, well, why am I not happy? I say this all the time. People say to me, oh, but Tate, when I was talking about the depression thing, they said, oh, but you're happy. I said, I would never describe myself as happy. I'm not unhappy. I'm not happy. The idea of happy, it's not a spectrum that enters my mind. I'm a disciplined individual who does what he knows is right to live the life he wants to live. Happy and sad is completely separate to how my life is organized. Like, I don't see this idea of people constantly being told you need to be happy all the time, no matter what. As soon as you feel a little bit sad, pop this pill. Like, it's insane. I refuse to be such a baby that I'm going to sit there and go, well, I feel a certain way, so I have to act a certain way. No. One of the number one tenets of masculinity, in fact, it's probably the primary tenet of masculinity, is acting different to how you feel. This 100%. Is the primary tenet of masculinity. Do you think the men on the Titanic felt like dying? No, but they acted a certain way because they were men. The women and the children are afraid and they're going to run. I'm afraid and I'm going to stay here because I'm a man. As a man, you have to control your emotions. So I don't give a shit if you're depressed. There's no excuse to not be an adult and make sensible decisions based on discipline alone. I'm too depressed to train. No, you lack discipline. Because I've felt miserable, every single person has. I didn't miss a gym session, ever. You're going to sit there on your video game and level up your character, but you won't level up your real life self. And this is the truth. And people sit there and go, yeah, but it's hard. You wouldn't want it if it wasn't hard. Because if it wasn't hard, everyone would have it and it would have no value. If everybody had a six-pack, you wouldn't want a fucking six-pack. This is the beauty of it. People don't understand that the fact it's hard is what makes it beautiful. That's what makes it good. That's what makes you want it at all. Why is a nice body so coveted? Because people know how hard it is to have a nice body. If we all could just shred like this, it wouldn't mean anything. Value and scarcity are linked. They're together. So you can't sit and complain about the value of things and then complain it's hard. This is another thing where it comes back to motivation and discipline. I want to really stress the difference between those two things. I was a 4-time kickboxing world champion. For 12 years, I trained 5 hours a day, 6 days a week. And I was motivated to train probably about 25% of the time. The rest of the time I went because I am disciplined. Just like you're talking about your ultra marathon. You don't feel like going through that shit on a Wednesday morning when you wake up, but you have to do it because you're disciplined. You're either a disciplined individual or you are not a disciplined individual. To sit there and say, and I'm going to tell you the truth, Ramsey, a shit spiral, what does that mean? You go on Pornhub, or you start clicking on cat videos on YouTube. Like, if you really wanted money, you would not do that. So you don't really want it. There's a difference between want and want. And I say this all the time. People say to me, I want to be rich. And I say, okay, well, I want to be able to ice skate. But I don't want to be able to ice skate enough to go learn how to ice skate because I can't be bothered. I mean, surely if I could click my fingers and be a figure skater, I'd click my fingers. Who wouldn't? But I don't want to actually go train because I don't want it enough. And this is the exact point with money. Everyone wants money put on their lap. If you truly wanted money, you wouldn't be able to sleep until you fucking had it. One of the only things in this world you can control is your state of mind. You can't control the weather. You can't control other people. You can't even control your health. You might get a brain hemorrhage, or you might get hit by a bus, or you might get assassinated. One of the very few things in the world you have genuine control over is your state of mind. You decide if you're a disciplined person. You decide if you're a happy person. You decide if you're a depressed person. These are things that in real time you can affect in your brain. This is all you can control on Earth. If you can't control that, then you're just a feather in the wind. And life's going to blow you around and you might land somewhere good, you might land in dog shit, nobody knows. Are you disciplined enough to control your anger? The reason anger suits me is because I'm disciplined enough to never let it bring me down to, like you said, bitching on the internet or complaining or becoming black pill or moaning about my situation. I'm disciplined enough to take that anger and do something positive with it. So anger is a fantastic emotion. If you have enough self-discipline to focus it in the correct direction, fine. Most people, when they get angry, it consumes them. I had a lot of important lessons from my dad in the days I lived with him, but one of the things he was very, very good at, he had a few fundamental themes throughout our when we lived together throughout my childhood, and one of them was about excuses. So if I lost a chess game, for example, there was a chess tournament. It was 7 hours drive. We drove 7 hours. We stayed up all night. I stayed up with him. I played chess in the morning. I lost. I only had 2 hours sleep. And when I lost, I said, "Oh, because I was tired." And my dad made a very big point of saying, "Look, it doesn't matter if you were tired. Your excuse has fucking nothing to do with the win or the loss next to your name. You've lost now. No one's going to say he lost, but he was tired. They're going to say you lost."
So your attention is very, very difficult, and that's what discipline is, really. It's the ability to stay focused on one thing for a long period of time. And I think most people don't realize how bad their attention span is, or how much discipline they lack, until they really start to suffer from it. And that's what will happen, especially as a man. I can't say as a woman because I'm not a woman, but as a man, if you don't have the ability to knuckle down and focus on something for a long time, life's going to punish you. Sooner or later, life's going to wake you up, you know? And the reality of mastery and the reality of success is that it's not really a glamorous story. Like, how do you become the best boxer in the world? You do the same thing over and over for 15 years. Jab, cross, hook. Like, it's boring, you know? Yeah. But that's what discipline is. So the idea that a lot of people want to be constantly entertained, I want to be entertained, that's boring. Well, that's why you need discipline. People want to be constantly motivated. Oh, I don't feel motivated. Listen, if you're not motivated to go to the gym, and that has resulted in you being obese, suffering health adversity, so you've now damaged your health. On top of that, you're less attractive to females. On top of that, your energy levels are lower. If you really need motivation to just lose weight and live a life worth living, then there's something wrong with you. I train every single day, and I'm never motivated. But I'm disciplined. I never wake up and think, yeah, I want to train. I've been training my whole life. I'm bored of it. But it's something that has to be done, right? So the idea of entertainment, the idea of motivation, these things are completely detrimental to discipline. People come to me all the time and say, how do I get motivated? I say, you don't. You get disciplined. I don't care if you feel like doing X. You must do X or you will stay a loser. So do you want to be a loser or do you want to do X? It has nothing to do with motivation. So a lot of these things, people are constantly distracted. And I think a lot of the things that are taught and told about discipline are actually detrimental to a disciplined mindset as a whole. It's a lot of people don't see success, or they don't measure their own success, right? So there's a saying in fighting, and it says, you're never tired when you're winning. And the point is, when you're getting your ass kicked, you're out of breath. But if you're kicking someone's ass, you don't get out of breath. It's weird how that works. But life's the same, right? So if you give anybody a business idea and they start to make money, and they're making money, now they're making more money, now they're making more money, most people will have all the motivation and discipline they need to continue doing X idea and become very, very rich. The problem is people try things, they don't work. They try something, no money's coming in. They've tried something else, it's been a year, they don't see the results. And that's the hard part. That's where the discipline's really, really important, because you're never tired when you're winning, right? So one of the things you can do is you got to find ways and metrics to measure success. Maybe your goal is to get rich, but you build a website, it's your goal to get rich. You're not making any money yet. But visitors are going up, right? So at least you have some kind of metric. You need to pay attention to your successes. You need to pay attention to them, because that's going to give you all the energy and motivation, the word I don't like to use, the discipline that you need to keep going.
Emotions are feedback, but stoicism is the ability to process them. And that's what you need to learn as a man. You're never going to be able to turn them off. You're going to feel them. You have to learn how to process them and turn them into a positive. It's energy. It's unlimited energy. I say this all the time. I say that the biggest periods of transformation in my life is when everything was going wrong. When my life was going good, I'm not a hedonistic person. I don't do drugs. I don't gamble. I don't do prostitutes. I don't do anything that hedonistic. But I'll certainly go on the yacht with a bunch of women I know and chill and have some vodkas and that kind of thing. When life's smooth, then it's semi-hedonistic, pretty relaxed. But when I make my biggest progress, when I really change who I am and change the world, that's when everything's fucked. When things go wrong, or I'm feeling things I don't want to feel, or bad things are happening, that's when I'm like, okay, I currently cannot sleep. I've completed the day's tasks. I've tried to go to bed. I can't sleep. More shit has to be done. That's when the amazing things happen in my life. When I was heartbroken, when I was whatever, look, everyone's been heartbroken. I can't remember a specific example. I hit the gym harder, right? If something goes wrong with your payment processor, that's when you get fucking inventive. That's business, right? That's when you get inventive. So all the bad things that happen to you as a man, if you're stoic, you get to take unlimited energy Heartbreak is unlimited energy. So is depression. So is rage. So is sadness. All these negative emotions they tell you to collapse behind. It's like, people talk like, Bruce Lee says, be like water. And people see that as be fluid and just go with the flow. I disagree. If you're like water, you're necessary for life. You are scary when you're enraged. You're powerful. You're beautiful when you're calm. You're so many things when you're like water, right? So if I'm enraged, it's like water behind a dam. You just got to put the dam in place, and you got to get the turbo, the hydroelectrics put in. Don't tsunami your life. Put the energy somewhere. And this is the most beautiful thing about it, because people message me all the time like, oh, but Tate, you don't know how sad I feel. No, incorrect. I know exactly how sad you feel.